Welcome to the Master of the NEC podcast, the ultimate destination for anyone passionate about the electrical trade. Whether you're a seasoned electrician, an eager apprentice, or just someone who wants to dive deep into the world of electrical work, you've come to the right place. Join your host, Paul Abernathy, a true authority in the industry with over 38 years of trade experience, as he electrifies your mind with in-depth discussions, expert tips, and valuable insights that will keep you ahead of the curve. Each episode, Paul will illuminate the complexities of the trade, decode the National Electrical Code, and share the latest industry trends, all while empowering you to take your electrical career to the next level. So, gear up, plug in, and get ready to supercharge your knowledge, because with the Master of the NEC podcast, the power is in your hands. Now get ready, here is your host, Paul Abernathy.
Hey everybody, Paul Abernathy here. Welcome to another episode of Master the NEC, where we're going to have a great topic today. We're going to talk about why soft skills make or break electrical service technicians. And you may think you're the best electrician in the world. You may have the best skills in the world. But at the end of the day, you get out on a job site and you start communicating with a customer, and immediately what happens is you lose that first impression, or you set a bad image for the company. So this message is really to everybody out there who wants to have a better understanding of communication with their customer, as well as employers who want to make sure that all of their employees have the necessary soft skills to deal with the customers, and in turn, probably a stellar service technician into an amazingly stellar service technician. Again, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So you can have the cleanest panel work in the world, but if the homeowner doesn't like you, trust you, respect you, or feel respected by you, then your technical skills you just lost that job. Now, you ain't win in the short term, but you're going to lose in the long term. So in service work, technical skills get you in the door, but the soft skills will determine whether or not you get paid, whether you get rehired, or if the company you work for gets referred. So that's what we're going to talk about in today's episode. Again, my name's Paul Abernathy. I've been serving the electrical industry for over 40 years as a master electrician. I have written numerous books, blogs, hundreds and hundreds of blogs, thousands of podcasts. I've owned electrical contracting businesses in Virginia and in Texas. And I am also the CEO and founder of Electrical Code Academy, probably one of the most trusted electrical educational resources on the internet. And we've also created Fast Tracks Tube, which is also one of the leading trusted resources for videos that you can actually trust when it comes to learning the National Electrical Code. But today we're going to talk about electricians, and we're going to talk about soft skills a little bit. So again, kind of a departure from our norm. But I think it's extremely important that you, if you're an employer, that you make sure that your employees listen to this episode, watch the video, that type of thing. So let's get into it. So let's talk first. Number one, first thing we'll talk about is what are soft skills when it comes to the electrical industry? Well, soft skills can be broken down into many things. They're the ability to communicate properly, to listen, proper body language, professional appearance, respect for the customer's home while you're there, okay? How you convey or explain the problems that you encounter while at the home or while on the job site, how you may handle conflict, maybe situations change, how you handle that. All of those things bring in soft skills. And again, the method of how you build trust with the customer while you're there for the scheduled repair session or whatever it is, or even the phone call sessions leading up to that, all of those things are wrapped up into having really good soft skills. And any weakness in any of those can put a chink in that armor and start to affect the reputation of the company you work for. And ultimately, if that happens internally, it'll affect your reputation within the company as well. So soft skills are being good at those communicating, handling problems, listening, your body language, your professional appearance. All these things can be learned. And they take a little bit of practice because, again, we're all built with our own innate little nuances that sometimes don't send the right message. And so you have to work at those. And any electrical contractor or business, whether you're plumbing, mechanical, whatnot, and you have employees, you need to make sure that they are fully aware of soft skills. So you don't overlook soft skills because somebody just happens to be a pretty good technician or they're making you a lot of money. Again, you can get more out of that and make their life better, and they can understand how to handle stressful situations if you work on those soft skills, because soft skills are not extra. They are a product of service work. And if you're going to be doing service work, then it's important that your employees as well as yourself understand these soft skills. Okay, now, the service technician is the company. So I don't know whether if you've watched our previous podcast or listened to our previous podcast when we talk about electrical contractor versus electrician. You need to understand that the employee is the company. They're the vision of the company. They're the messenger of the company. So you have to do everything that is right. If you're an electrical contractor or you're the owner of a business, you need to go back and listen to that episode, because that episode, I think it's episode 51 of the Master the NEC series. But it's so important that you realize that you have to set the tone, okay? Now, when a technician enters the home, they become they become the brand, your brand. What you're sending out there is extremely important. You know, don't blame it on the technician if you're not able to provide them with proper shirts to wear, or that you have a company policy on how they're supposed to look, how they're supposed to carry themselves. Don't blame the employee if you don't set the tone. And if you're a one-man or one-woman show, it's up to you to set the tone. But remember, your brand is everything. And I think that people forget that. Now, some people are very happy with a mom and pop, and they think, I've got plenty of business. I don't need to build my brand. Now, today, with all the competition, you need to build a brand. That's why CMECPs are taught to understand that this is conveying their excellence. And that sends the message to the customer. They don't know what CMECP is, but they know that it means Certified Master Electrical Code Professional. That's what you are, and that's the message you're carrying. So everything that you do up to this point is setting the tone for the company, okay? Now, the homeowner doesn't separate the technician from the company. Look, I have seen it where technicians get on a job and they badmouth the company. Look, if that's going on in your company, and if you're the owner and you get whiff of that, you need to nip that in the bud. That's a cancer that can destroy your company image. They may be the best yielder, top earner in your company. They got to go, or they need to get with the program, okay? One bad interaction can destroy years of reputation building. Okay? You send out somebody and they start mouthing off at the customer, or they start damaging the customer's property, or they don't follow your protocols, and you get complacent and think, I'll just send out Johnny, and it starts to hurt your reputation. Remember what I say. People that have a bad experience will go out of their way to share it. They'll go on Yelp, they'll go on Google, they'll go out of their way to share a bad experience. They won't necessarily go out of the way to share a good experience. That's why I train people to use things like these little tags that you see right here on my hat, in order to, that if you have a good experience with the customer, or you train your employee right, or the service technician, they can build a good referral, and this is going to build dividends for you because people are looking for that. Okay, your technician is not just fixing the circuit. That's not it. They're not just there doing that. This is why we talk about thermal imaging and offering a program. If my technician gets there and solves a problem in 30 minutes, and we charge by the hour, they need to understand how to tactfully add additional services that can help build your reputation, bolster it, rather than give a bad experience. Somebody gets there in 10 minutes and leaves, but they charge them for an hour. That tends to leave a bad taste in the customer's mouth. You need to balance out that time. Now, you may think, well, that means I can get him on another job and I make more money. Now, you're not thinking right. You're thinking about how many I can do in a day rather than how am I building my reputation. And it's a mindset, okay? You need to offer them additional services. You need to offer them different. If they refuse them, that's fine. But you need to understand how to incorporate. That's why I say Everybody needs to add thermal imaging, whether it's residential, commercial, service work. There's so much that those cameras can see that the customer can't see, and that you're able to convey it if you're trained properly, okay? So you got to remember, your technician is not there fixing a circuit. That might be the goal that they were hired to do, but he or she is actually selling the company's future, because people will go out of their way to say bad things. You have to help them say good things. So there's a process, okay? And I've also talked about this in previous episodes, so make sure you subscribe to the podcast. You go listen to our podcast. You can find Master the NEC podcast by just simply searching for it in any of your search engines, Google, whatever, and you'll find it. Go back and listen to some of the old episodes, because we talk about reputation building, how to set the image. These are powerful things. You as a business owner, you need to start thinking about that. And if you're a contractor and you're a one-man show, you need to think about how this is going to help you scale. If you're an electrician, you need to get yourself into that mindset of an owner, okay, to build a business. It's just the way you've got to think today. You got to be the entrepreneur. You got to be the chief executive. And you've got to remember that what you do sends a message. Now, why do soft skills matter more than the technical skills on a service call? You might be thinking, well, I'm the best electrician in the world. I'm the best plumber in the world. I'm the best mechanical guy in the world. Well, if you listen to my previous episode number 51, you will see that it doesn't matter how skilled you are. You're there to fix a problem. Whether you fix it in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, or 30 minutes, that's your job. But on that service call, the soft skills, how you communicate, is what they remember. How you left that customer, how the expectations, how you clearly explained what you're doing to them, what you resolved, what you fixed, why you're offering these extra services that they don't have to pay for, like a thermal inspection or something like that. Maybe saying, I checked the lugs in your panel to make sure everything was torqued properly. Okay, those type of things. It is a requirement of the code today. Or maybe I make a recommendation because I noticed you need GFCI here. It wasn't required at the time it was built, but you know what? The code evolves because there are issues that need to be addressed. No high pressure sales. That's why our thermal imaging electricians, when we get into our certified thermal electrician program, we have separate modules that talk about the approach to sales, approach to addressing problems or confrontation, or how to get over hurdles. There's a reason for all that. And you need to learn that if you want to be the best electrician and the best contractor you can be. Now, let's think about this. So soft skills, why do they matter more than the technical skills? Well, homeowners judge you and they call you back based on how you greet them, whether you listen to them, good listening skills, or you're ignoring them because you think you're so far above them in knowledge that you don't have to listen to what they say, or you don't acknowledge them, or you don't know the right way to acknowledge them. Okay. Another one is whether you explain things clearly in a way that they can understand it. It takes practice. If you're so used to talking technical jargon, then you need to understand how to convey the message to a level they'll understand and appreciate, okay? Also, do you have the ability to show patience, or are you just simply constantly amped up? Do you know how to have a conversation where you pause properly and listen to them? Active listening sometimes is the most important part of communication, okay? Now, do you make them feel safe? Do you make them feel respected? Remember, they called the company you work for, or they called you if you're a one-man show. We want to make sure that they have this utmost level of confidence throughout the time that you're there with them, okay? Here's the other thing. They do not judge you for how perfect your conduit is. They do not judge you for how many code articles you can quote or cite to them, okay? They don't judge you by how smart you are. They're not electricians. They're not plumbers. They're not mechanical folks, right? So you can impress them by how you look. CMECPs that have that seal, they're going to look at it. They're going to glance at it. They're going to see it on your arm. They're going to see it on the truck. They're going to know these things. They're already putting you at this high level. You have to maintain it, okay? So can you overcome a bad first impression? Absolutely. Is it harder? Absolutely. Are you going to spend the rest of your service call trying to overcome that first impression when you identify that you screwed up? Absolutely you are. Can you? Yeah, but it's going to take you more work, more energy. And remember, if you start out right there at the top, high energy, very respectful, easy to communicate, listen well, look the part, guess what? The job is easy. All they want is the job fixed. Okay, now, remember, the customer doesn't care how much you know until they know how much you care. That's important because to you, it's just another job. To them, it's a moment in time that they wish they didn't have to experience. They didn't want to call a service tech. They might have been the woman of the house, might have thought it was something that the honey-do list should have taken care of, and they can't take care of it. So they don't want to call you. So you need to make it as painless as possible. And that takes practice. You may think you have some great skills, but do you have those soft skills that are necessary to make this transaction memorable so that they let other people know how memorable it is? Now, communication is the revenue skill. How many times have you heard somebody say that? Clear expectations or clear explanations really do build trust with the customer. Arrive there, let them know what's to take place, what the expectation is, and then when you find something that you explain it to them, you don't load it up with so technical jargon because they're not going to be impressed by you. They're not. They want it solved, but you can explain it to them in a way they understand it, okay? If you build trust with the customer, then what you're doing is building approval. They will literally go out of their way to recommend you. But if you breach that trust, they will go out of their way to destroy you. Really, if you've not been on any Yelp reviews lately or any Google reviews lately, I'm just saying, again, tactfulness and the ability to communicate is extremely important. And not everybody has it. Okay? I have my own experiences with some HVAC guys that came to my house when I was in McKinney, Texas. I would not hire that company again. They're probably a great company, but their technician badmouthed them the whole time. He looked terrible. He smelled like cigarette smoke the whole time. His vehicle was terrible. He pulled up and there was trash falling out of his vehicle. Did not send the message I want. You might say, well, he was great. He was highly skilled. Look, I'm not paying for that. I'm paying to solve my problem, right? That's it. And I got a bad impression of them. Say what you want. You can say, is your electrician? You go, oh, that's bull crap. I'm the best skilled out there. You're selling yourself short. You're fooling yourself, okay? Communication is what actually is a revenue growing skill. Clearly explain what that is you're doing. Build that trust. Trust builds approval. Approval builds sales and reoccurring sales. And you know what sales does? Sales builds companies. They'll tell their brother. They'll tell their cousin. They'll tell their neighbor. And they're liable to call you back again because they had a pleasant experience. You did a follow-up call saying, hey, I'm here for you. And by the way, if you need a recommendation for a plumber, a mechanical person, a builder, anything like that, I've got you. I'm your trusted resource. We talk about that in other podcasts, how I use these little QR codes right here, and we do link trees, and we build relationships, kind of a BNI, builders, the Network International type of thing, where you're building a loyal trust of other people that you can recommend. You want to be their go-to person. It's easy. Again, you say, God, that's hard work. Oh, that's so much. It's not. Once you understand how to do it, it's very easy to build that trust with the customer and be that go-to person for them. All right, now, a technician with average, okay, not above average, not below, but average technical skill, but they have excellent communication skills is the one I want, okay? I can train somebody to fix and troubleshoot. Whether they do it in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour, I can train them for that. That's my responsibility to offer them that type of training. But you take that mediocre electrician and you give them some amazing communication skills, they can outperform a genius electrician with poor people skills every day of the week. They're still going to solve the problem. Still going to get the customer with the resolution, but They're going to close more work. They're going to get you more sales. They're going to generate you more repeat business. And they're going to protect the company's reputation because they understand soft skills, people skills, communication skills, conflict resolution. How to make that customer feel like, you know what? You're the number one customer for the day. Look, if you're an electrician or a plumber or mechanic and you say, look, I got no interest in that. I'm just an electrician. I'm just doing the work. Hey, you're a dinosaur. You're going to be replaced at some point because everybody's replaceable. Take a little pride in your work. I like to leave every customer thinking they got the best. And that's what you should do in every service call you go on. If you want to, it's not kissing their ass either, because you're offering a service, you're offering an explanation, expectation, you're giving them good communication, you're good listening skills, you're dealing with resolution, you're working with the customer so that the end result, they are a happy customer. Then you leave, the next day you follow up call on your schedule and you say, hey, I just want to follow up. We did some work for you yesterday. Just make sure everything's okay. If you need anything or anything I could do better, please let me know. Also, if you feel it's a good experience, do not be afraid to ask for a referral, whether it's Google, Yelp. In fact, I teach people to set that up so they can do it right there while you're there. Easy. 5 stars, always ask for 5 stars, but make sure you give them 5-star results, okay? But be honest with them, right? Just saying. Now, the real cost of poor soft skills. What's the real cost of that? Well, poor soft skills or an employee who is like, dude, I've been doing this for 40 years. I don't give a damn. Dude, you hired me to fix the problem. That's not true. If you're a one-man show and you want to run your business like that, that's up to you. But if I'm an owner of a business, I expect you to understand that your reputation needs to be upheld within my company and that I expect you to work on these skills. If you don't want to do it, you need to hit the road. Find somewhere else. Okay? But poor soft skills does what? Builds bad reviews, lost referrals, customer complaints, canceled estimates, reduced revenue for the company, high employee turnover because of complaints, right? One technician, just one, with bad soft skills can undo an entire marketing budget. You have spent a lot of time. Have you ever sat down and wondered what your return on investment? If you're an owner of a company and you're not thinking about your return on investment, how hard did you have to work for that sale? It can be undone and almost immediately. And all that work you put into it can go away that quick. And all you're asking is for a service technician to treat that customer with the same respect that they'd expect to be treated. That's all we're asking. Now, the 5 soft skills every service tech must master. Number 1, first impression. The appearance, the greeting, and the tone. Okay? When I greet somebody, I look the part. Again, you need to invest in shirts, and if you don't have them for your employees, shame on you. That should come out of the company's costs. T-shirts, if it's even this t-shirts like this, inexpensive. You can get involved in it for less than $5 a shirt. They should have at least 5 or 6 shirts. Okay, you say, well, I've got 1,000 employees. Good. Then that should be part of your budget. Providing shirts, looking the part, making sure you have an appearance policy. Look, I'm not against tattoos. I'm not. But I don't want Satan's worker tattooed on the forearm of my technician and him be in my company. Well, we don't get into religion in our company. Bullshit. Because I don't know if somebody's a Satanist or a holy roller. It should be irrelevant. Okay? If I have an employee that has all those, I'm not against tattoos. But if they're tattoos that are off-putting, then what happens is they need to be covered up. You do your own policy. I'm just telling you that would not happen in my company. I'm not against the tattoos. I'm not. But I'm not going to send a service technician out there, no matter how good they are, with skull and crossbones tattooed all over their face. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Okay? So those out there that do that, okay, I'm sorry. You don't like it? I'm straight with you folks. That's not the image that my company's going to project. It's not whether I'm a holy roller. It's not whether I'm a Satan word. Nothing to do with it. If they can't be covered up, then they have to at least be tasteful. And if they're not tasteful, and your company is going to determine that, not me, okay? Your company, all right? So anyway, but those are things you have to think about. So appearance, how they greet somebody, and the tone is critically important. Number 2, active listening. What does that mean? That means listening to the customer. When you get there, you might have been told you have to fix something. You get there, the first thing a technician should go is, look, I believe that we were sent out here because you have a circuit that's not working in a bedroom. But you know what? You're the one that needs to tell me, what do you got going on here? What's exactly going on? And listen, don't interrupt them. Let them finish. Wait for those pauses. You want to call them awkward pauses, that's fine, but you need to practice good listening skills. Let them get what they have to say out. Okay? And if they were to say something like, well, I have a circuit that's bad, but Johnny told me that, that y'all look for everything and, blah, 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 blah. And, and my response would be like, and I don't have a lot of money and I hear you overcharge. I'm not saying that'll take place, but I'm just saying I'd listen and go, I can understand that. It's probably happened to you or somebody else before. Not how our company works. This is why I'm, wanted to take this opportunity to listen to you about what's going on. Because sometimes things can, when you call in or somebody calls in a service deal that they don't give all the information. And for me to fix it quickly and to understand, I need to hear it from you. And so that's why I wanted. So is there anything else that you may find relevant or to what's going on? Let them say it and you listen. Don't interrupt them. Don't immediately think I have the solution. Oh, that sounds like that's a bad brick. Listen until there's that silence. They're done talking. Then you talk. Don't interrupt them. Now, next, clear explanation. Avoid any jargon. Speak simply. Speak directly. Pause when necessary. Take breaths. Actively listen and then clearly communicate. That's going to be your biggest tool that you have to. And look, it takes practice. It doesn't just happen like that because everybody's so itching to spout back something or say something or look for instant gratification or acknowledgement. I, as a technician, am not there to them to acknowledge how great I am. They don't know me. They hired the company that I work for, so I'm always going to keep the company. They don't need to know how great I am. This is why the company will do things like put your seals on there about being a CMECP or what kind of training or uniforms. Give that appearance of professionalism that it already speaks volumes for your company. A well-done website, a well-done vehicle marketing, that will send the message. You don't need to convey. You're already there. You don't need to let them know how great you are. They already hired you. So speak clearly. Speak simply, convey it, listen, pause when necessary. Keep the good tone, positive tone. Next, respect their home. Cleanliness, care, and courtesy. Don't leave handprints, fingerprints on everything. If you've got the little booties that you wear before you come in their house, believe it or not, whether your shoes are dirty or not, and I've had technicians tell me, I ain't taking my shoes off for nobody. Well, if you work for me, you will if necessary. Telling you right out, I ain't taking my boots off of nobody. Oh, I'm so holier than thou electrician that I don't need to remove my shoes because that customer, screw them. I'm the technician. You ain't working for me. So either I provide you with proper little booties that go over it and you're going to put those on while the customer's watching because you care. You care. They see that. They remember that. Or if you don't have them, you say to them, I need to go. I want to take off my boots or take off my work boots right here at the door. I don't want to run the risk of tracking anything in your beautiful home. I just want to take them off here. Are you okay with that? They'll be like, oh, that's fine. Take them off right there. Does that mean you got to put them on when you go back out? Back on? Yes, I'm sorry. Being respectful may inconvenience you. But it is what it is. Do not track through somebody's house. Show courtesy. Or at least them give you the okay to say, you don't need to take your boots off or you don't need to. Let them, if they tell you, It's fine. I got another old saying that people say that if you're working on a job and it's hot and they come up to you and say, do you want a glass of water? You take the water. People say, oh, no, I'm okay. First of all, if you're thirsty, you're thirsty. Secondly, you can say, oh, I appreciate that. It's hot. These uniforms are hot. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you very much goes a long way. If they're offering, they care. And that's part of having that interactive communication. I'm just saying, okay? Now, professional closing. Soft skill. Summarize the work you just did. Answer any follow-up questions that they have. Ask them, do you have any other follow-up questions for me? And then at the end of the day, and I see this not happen, at least it didn't happen in my HVAC experiences, where the actual service tech said, thank you, we appreciate your business. Dude, really? Are you too good to do that? They just paid your company money. Hell, even if somebody bitches about the price, there's a tactful way to push that towards the business and say, well, somebody might say, well, I think that's a bit overpriced. Then I might say something like, no, I get it. I understand. You might feel that way, and I get it. The problem is our price structure is based on the burdens and overheads that our company has and to pay us our wage and everything like that. So it's broken down amongst the employees. So it just is what our pay is. But I'm more than happy to put you in touch with our owner and facilitate that for you because I understand. I get it. It's tough out here, that type of thing. There's ways that you can divert that. But you don't need to get into confrontation or justify why you get paid because you didn't set the pay. The company set the structure. You're just there to facilitate it. I'm just saying, it goes a long way. Answer their questions. Say thank you for their service on behalf of the company. I'm just saying. Now, soft skills are trainable. Absolutely. All this stuff says like, well, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Well, if you're an employer, you can mandate a training program within your company where you build these soft skills. You have some one-on-one, some interactive training that you can build these soft skills. A lot of these complaints that people have with it, companies have, is because they don't have a training program for this. And I don't care whether you have 5 employees. That's even more critical because the more people you have walking around out there on your behalf of a company, then you need to make sure they're trained. So companies must train soft skills just like they train technical skills, especially today when the competition is so high. Okay, ride along should be evaluate the communication, not just the workmanship. You're not riding, if you're the owner or you have a training provider or somebody that goes with you, maybe even they're going as a helper, but they're really not a helper. They're there to watch how the electrician does their role or the plumbing guy or whatever. You have somebody in your company that does that, okay? Like kind of a third party or whatever to do that, right? They go with you. Maybe you have another electrician who they evaluate each other with how they do it and they be brutally honest, okay? So again, another thing is that internally, you should not put a matrix of promotion on people based on their skills alone. They should be getting promotions based on their skills because they're expected to have a skill, their trade, but also base promotions on their people skills because that's what in conjunction with their technical skills are what's going to bring the money in. Like I said, you've heard that old saying, I can hire a monkey to turn a wrench, but I can't get that monkey to communicate. So I need somebody that can do both very well. Okay, now soft skills should be part of every performance review. How they interact, what the complaint status is from customers, a evaluation from a ride along now and then to see how they interact with the customer. They should be doing follow-up sheets or submittals. As simple as things are today, they can do a follow-up where they followed up with the customer and then do a report and submit it on how that interaction went. Many ways to do this, but promotions within a company should not be based on skill alone. They have to work these people skills, these soft skills, okay? The best companies build technicians. The elite companies, build professionals. And that's what we're trying to do. Okay. So, folks, in service work, your product is not the wire, the breaker, or the panels. They're not. Your product is the trust that's bestowed on you as the technician, and the trust that you build with the customer, so that the company overall reaps the benefit of that great elite reputation. Okay. Soft skills are not optional today. Okay. They are not personality traits. They are business tools. And not everybody has the best personality. But when they're working for you from 9 to 5, from 7 to 4, from 8 to 4, whatever that schedule is, we need to reprogram them, because a technician who masters people skills will always outperform technicians who only master electricity. I'm serious. It's not just a cliche, folks. So anyway, I'm hoping you got something out of today's episode. And again, think about it. If you're a one-man shop or a one-woman shop, think about how you communicate. Make sure you follow up, because you know what? Repeat business is great. And you're likely going to get more work out of that job. And you're going to get future work out of that job. Don't be thinking about a one and dones. Don't be thinking about, ooh, I got this one doing, I'm going to run to the next one. My goal is to always think about that customer, that return on investment. They're going to have future needs. How do I get more out of that customer? The old saying, you get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar, stands true. Learn those personal skills. Till next time, folks, stay safe. God bless.
Thanks for tuning into another electrifying episode of the Master the NEC podcast. We hope you're feeling more powered up and ready to tackle the electrical world with the knowledge and confidence you need to succeed. Remember, in the electrical trade, knowledge is power, and we're here to make sure you stay plugged into the latest insights, tips, and code updates. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and share the podcast with your fellow electricians and industry pros. Until next time, keep your tools sharp, your circuits clear, and your mind focused, because here at the Master the NEC podcast, we're all about sparking your success. Stay safe, stay smart, and keep mastering the trade. From all of us here at Electrical Code Academy, thank you for all your support, and we will see you on the next amazing Master the NEC podcast episode.